Today we visited a college that was started by Mahatma Gandhi. The Gandhi School is a green school. They have windmills, they have solar distills, and they have a lot of solar power throughout the campus. They grow their own vegetables, and they also have compost piles to recycle. They don't waste anything.
Is turned into compost.
College campus here in India. You can see students walking in between class. A lot of these students are master's and PhD students. Gandhi believed that education should involve the head, the heart, and the hands. So at the Gandhi School, students also learn skills such as weaving. Visiting the Gandhi School was very impressive. The way they're very sustainable, how they don't waste anything, how they grow their own food, and how they use solar powers is very impressive. We talked with Gandhi's great grandson during lunch about how students are admitted into the university. And he mentioned that it's kind of like affirmative action. Students from lower classes get precedent over students from higher classes in order to kind of try to equal out the playing field. It's interesting. And I'm kind of curious about how Indian students feel about that. Fortunately, I wasn't able to interview any of them. About 75% of the campus spoke English, and the rest did not. We were able to ask students some questions as a large group, and some students were able to ask us questions as a large group. And there were some good questions about what they plan to do in the future. It's interesting how some of them feel like they want to come to America after they graduate and work. And after we visited the school, Arun kind of spoke on that, and he just talked about how people feel that coming to America, you can make the big bucks. And so a lot of times people, when they graduate the top schools here in India, they get jobs at Fortune 500 companies in America, which is interesting. And then he also talked about how some of the students feel like at that school, they're not prepared to go to America because other schools are having them learn English and other things, and that school does not. And we got into the concept of how Gandhi felt about, or how Gandhi might feel about students wanting to go to America after graduating. And Arun had mixed feelings about that. After we visited the school, we visited the Mahatma Gandhi Museum, which was in the house that he once lived in. While at the museum, we were able to walk through and see pictures. We were able to see great quotes about his practices and able to learn a little bit more about how Gandhi lived his life and how he preached to his followers and some of the things that he was able to accomplish through his nonviolent practices. Gandhi inspired so many great leaders like Martin Luther King and like Albert Einstein. I'm so impressed by how his nonviolent practices were able to liberate other people in other places. During our debrief section, Arun Gandhi talked about how his grandfather was similar to Malcolm X in his evolution process. He talked about how his grandfather was very angry with the British at one point and how he had to evolve and how he had to kind of develop into his nonviolent ways. He wasn't always that way. And it was similar with Malcolm X because Malcolm X was very angry against the white people, and eventually he started to evolve. And if he wasn't assassinated, we might have saw a whole different Malcolm X, very similar to Gandhi practices that was out there. Unfortunately, he was assassinated, so we never got to see that. It was interesting because he told me a story about Malcolm X and how when he was in school, he said he wanted to be a lawyer, and a teacher told him that he shouldn't want to be a lawyer and that he should try to reach for something lower. And that was purely based on the color of his skin. The teacher felt like he couldn't be a lawyer. And I've had similar experiences in my own life. While I was in college, a professor actually said to me, when looking through my transcripts with me, it was my advisor, and he looked at my grades and he says, "Wow, you have pretty good grades for a student of color." And I mean, what exactly does that mean? As a student of color, am I not supposed to be as intelligent as the other students? Am I not supposed to be able to achieve what they're achieving? Arun is very wise, and I feel like this trip is really opening my eyes to a lot of things.